This is Mehul Mankad, and we're here with Kelly Sullivan. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
We're going to be talking more about connecting to resources with specific focus on veterans' families and children. Kelly, why is it important to consider care needs and resources for all of the family members of a veteran?
It's important because families really function like a machine. All the parts are really, really important. And one way that people might really think about this well is like the family is like a car. So if one part of the car isn't working well, you really probably need to take care of it, or that car isn't going to be working.
If you've got a flat tire on one of your four wheels, the car's not going to drive so well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can maybe even think about each member of that family being a wheel. So they all really need to be working. So it might be really, really important for VSOs to be checking in with spouses or partners and connect with them about how they're doing, what kinds of things they're doing, what their needs are. It's a great way really to engage families.
Sounds good. Now, would you encourage VSOs to promote strength building or resiliency in families?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Resilience is a key thing that we know actually truly happens with families who've been through great struggles. And it truly is an amazing process. In fact, one of the sort of push-pulls of resiliency, especially in the context of families, is that parents, for example, are always trying to protect their families, their children, from bad things happening. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, bad things are just inescapable. They happen to all families. Your family, my family, they just happen. And so if we really can accept that things that challenges will arise for our families, and that if we go toward those challenges bravely, and trying to put a lot of effort forth to resolve those challenges, that we truly can be very, very resilient. And all the families that VSOs encounter, they should truly believe that those families can be resilient. It's a very, very important tool.
Now, what kinds of community mental health resources are available for families and children?
So there are a lot available. It definitely varies from one community to another. And families probably will need the support of the VSOs to help them really figure out what's available. But one very basic thing to understand about mental health services in general, for the most part, families will probably need nothing more than what's considered outpatient therapy. And outpatient therapy, it's probably not the best name, but that's what we call even outpatient medical treatments. You go in for a procedure and then you walk out, in a couple of hours. That's what we're really looking at for outpatient mental health therapy too.
Okay.
You go into a place and then you leave, and that's the vast majority of the services that families will need. And that might only be an hour or two a week along that line, or it might be more frequent if the needs are higher. And then if there are more intensive needs, if there's a higher level of risk. So, for example, if they have behaviors that might harm themselves or harm other people, there might be a higher level of need. And so there are some other kinds of options when there are needs like that.
Kelly, how do adult and child family services differ?
They differ substantially. For the most part, child serving systems are going to be pulling in the information from multiple sources. Okay. Definitely parents is one source that the child serving systems will pull in, but they also might pull in information from teachers at school, maybe any other adult who is working substantially with that child. So a child serving system really would probably be seeking more information than just what that child might be saying. Whereas adult service systems really do tend to rely more on, whether this is bad or good, they rely more on just what the adult is bringing forth. And so I'd say that that's one very important way that they can differ substantially.
So if there was a veteran who had PTSD or traumatic brain injury or something, it wouldn't be unusual that if they went to seek care, that the therapist they saw would just work with them.
Yes.
And then when they got better, it would all end, and they may or may not even call the significant other or spouse.
That's right.
But
That's
with a
right.
child, it sounds like it's important to work with the child, but also connect with the parents and possibly others that know the child well.
I think it's very important for both in the adult and the child for there to be increased family connections. But I do think the adult system might not rely on those techniques as much as the child serving system is. But that's something that families might really want to advocate more.
That sounds great. Where do you start to learn about all this?
So you'd think that it would be really easy to do because
Just Google it.
Right, just Google it. There's so many services out there, and I think families can just Google it to some degree. But you really probably have to have your community name in there, or you'll be really, really lost.
Hendersonville Family Therapy.
Yes, that's absolutely one approach that families can use to locate these services. So using the internet can be a really nice resource, but also for the family, and we know that veteran families have lots of different kinds of insurances.
Right.
But to just connect with their own insurance company. Many insurance companies have searchable databases that they can access from the internet. So a family could go straight to their own insurance company's website, see if they can access it that way, while other insurance companies might need you to give them a call. And then they can ask you what service you're looking for, make sure to clarify what area you're in, and they should be able to give you a list of providers. And then from there, using that internet, looking up those providers on the internet, seeing what those providers specialize in, and then probably giving them a call and seeing what you think of them yourself. Who's actually returning your calls? Who sounds likable on the phone? Those are all kind of key ingredients for trying to find and obtain these services.
So there's a lot of steps, but they're doable and they're important.
Yes.
Now, there must be other resources we can encourage parents to consider to support their child's development.
Yes, there are definitely community services available, but one of the things that we think are really, really great is just informal resources. And that means not an organized service that's out there in your community. So just using and connecting with other parents, other families in your community in a really, really informal way. So perhaps even in just your neighborhood, having conversations about what your family is doing, what your family's up to, and that can lead into conversations about what your needs are, what you're struggling with. And as soon as families start talking about these things, it's amazing how quickly other families will open up and talk about their own needs, their own struggles. And those simple communications back and forth can really result in some good sharing of information about what's been successful for families.
I imagine those families that share would also just feel less isolated and alone and feel like they're part of something that other people experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think that families are, as soon as they start to share their experiences with other families, they get this sense of, oh, right, I'm not the only one that's experiencing these things. And it's very freeing, actually, to have that experience.
Now, is it important for parents to become advocates for their children or for their families?
It's a critical piece for parents to become advocates for their children. What we really, really want parents to understand is that nobody knows their child and how their family operates and what's going to work for their family better than those parents.
Right.
So they really do need to hold that belief as true about themselves and, go forward and push forward about what they know is going to work and be strong in their convictions But they also can really try to educate themselves as much as possible, using the internet to kind of look at their own needs, look at the services that are available, and really try to evaluate for themselves what's going to be effective.
Got it, got it. Well, you've given us a lot to think about, and I really appreciate your coming to join us and talk with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.